Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Michael and we're going to be getting right back into some more Reddit stories. If you enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Now, without further ado, let's begin. This story was posted by a user named Severe Drive in the AITA subreddit. The post is titled, "I allowed my stepdaughter to wear stinky pajamas to school. I married my husband in December, then moved in with him and his daughter. The mom is still in the picture, but my stepdaughter lives with us full time. On the first day of school after Christmas break, I was supposed to drive my stepdaughter to school. When she was ready, she was wearing pajamas that smelled like gym clothes. She had pimple patches all over her face and her hair was messy and greasy, but I didn't say anything. She's 15 and in 10th grade. I figured she's old enough to dress herself. Plus, if her mom and dad don't have a problem with it, why should I?" My mom came to visit. Her eyes practically popped out of her head when she saw how my stepdaughter looked coming home from school. My mom asked how on earth I was allowing my stepdaughter to go to school like that. I told her nobody asked for my input and it wasn't my decision. She called me, my husband, and my stepdaughter's mom bad parents for letting her go to school looking like that. I asked my mom to leave my house. This edit is for the wonderful people who expressed concern for my stepdaughter. I agree, I'm the asshole. I now understand this isn't normal and I'll do my best to get her professional help. Update. I want to thank everyone who expressed concern about my stepdaughter. Last night, I talked to both my stepdaughter and my husband individually. I gently asked my stepdaughter about how she looks and smells when she goes to school, specifically the sweaty body odor, the pajamas, the pimple patches, and the messy, greasy hair. Since I'm the one who washes all the clothes, I know her clothes are clean and smell good when she gets them. The first thing she said was that she was surprised to hear she smells when she goes to school. She literally wears the pajamas she sleeps in, not the same pair multiple nights in a row, but she apparently sweats enough in her sleep that they end up smelling. She seemed a little bothered when I told her that, but not nearly as bothered as I would be if someone told me the same thing. The second thing she said was that none of her friends or her boyfriend judges her for how she looks. She said other girls look similar, that she's comfortable, and that she's not interested in pleasing judgmental people. I asked if she knows she can come to me, her dad, or her mom if she's ever struggling with her mental health. My stepdaughter said she knows and that she's fine. She thanked me for worrying about her. My husband told me she was a tomboy until middle school. He said she dressed very girly during middle school and the first few months of high school, but later told him she was surprised by how non-judgmental her high school classmates were about clothes. I asked him to promise me he'd get her checked by a mental health professional just as a precaution, and he promised he would. This morning, I called my mom to apologize, and we plan to meet in person on Friday. I'm a little relieved by my stepdaughter's responses and attitude through all of this, but I'm still concerned and will keep an eye on the situation. I'm going to try to be a better stepmom. That's where we're at now. User Proxenia said, "What the daughter said is true about wearing pajamas to school. When my daughter was in high school a few years ago, she also wore pajamas, as do many girls. She did, however, always smell good and stay clean." User Beneficial Remove said, "Kids wear pajama pants to school, and there's this weird trend of wearing those star-shaped pimple patches everywhere. That's normal. However, wearing pajamas that smell bad and having greasy, unwashed hair is not normal. That's a kid who isn't practicing proper hygiene. While I'm sure other kids wear PJs and star-face patches to school, I doubt they smell like feet and have greasy hair. It's actually pretty normal for middle and high schoolers to be more concerned about hygiene than that." This next story was made in the True Off My Chest subreddit by a user named Tame Armadillo. The post is titled, "My mom wants nothing to do with me because I picked my dad during the divorce. I know it sounds bad and I have a lot of regrets, but everything got really hard after my parents got divorced when I was 13. I'd had a happy childhood before then and was always closest with my mom. The divorce hit me much harder than it did my older sister Penny, who kinda took it in stride. My mom moved out into an apartment and became incredibly depressed. She drank a lot and it was just a mess. We were on a 50-50 schedule, but the setup was annoying because I had to switch houses every 2 to 3 days. I went to a private school, so I had uniforms and I was constantly getting in trouble for leaving them at the other house or forgetting things. Then my mom moved 45 minutes away from my school. They gave my sister a car so she could drive me, but I played sports and she never wanted to hang around after practice. I was always waiting around and would sometimes just end up at my dad's anyway. Eventually, I asked if I could stay with my dad on weekdays and my mom on weekends. My dad didn't want to only have me on school days, so I ended up with him one weekend and my mom the other 3. I thought it was great, but I could tell my mom seemed less, fond of me. My sister was supposed to drive me, but with sports and weekend games, sometimes I call my mom to pick me up and she couldn't. I started spending less time at her place. Meanwhile, she and Penny got much closer. Penny only came to my dad's every other weekend by then too. We got into a massive fight when I was a sophomore because I had a big game, the state semifinals, and I was on varsity, and she didn't go because she was taking Penny prom dress shopping. I was dating a junior and going to prom too, so I asked if we could all go another day, but she told me to ask my dad to take me. She was the one who had gotten me into sports and had always gone to my games, so I played terribly because I was so anxious, waiting and hoping she'd show up. She didn't. I felt like she'd forgotten about me and moved on, so I stopped going over to her house. We still called and saw each other on holidays and things like that, but I was hurt, and she never apologized. I obviously still love her, and we get along fine when we do see each other, it's just not often. Lately, I've been feeling really down. I lost a friend and my dad's new girlfriend moved in. I'm pretty sure she wants me to move out, which, whatever, I'll figure it out. But it's more like she gets mad if I don't clean, and when I do, she gets snippy and says things like, "You're not your dad's wife." Now, my mom is doing well. She got remarried about a year ago and her husband has 2 kids, Jake and Emma. They're all nice, but I obviously don't know them very well. Anyway, before Christmas, my mom asked if I would give one of my old American Girl dolls to Emma. It's not like it was an heirloom or anything, but it used to be my cousin's, and honestly, I don't know Emma very well, so I said no. It's not like they don't have money and they still sell the dolls. I wasn't mean or anything, I just said I didn't want to. But I kept asking my mom about Christmas, when to come over, what the plans were, and she never really told me. I normally spend Christmas Eve with her, but this time she never said what was going on. I texted her that day to ask when I could give her her gift, and she said she'd reach back out after the holidays. That hurt in a way I can't even explain because she's never refused my calls or avoided seeing me before. I guessed it was probably about the stupid doll, and I probably should have given her space, but I still texted her Happy New Year. Penny got super mad, drove over, and yelled at me. She said I needed to stop bothering mom after breaking her heart by picking dad. I told her that wasn't true, and she said they got divorced because dad had an affair, and that I was an idiot if I hadn't figured that out. Nobody had ever told me that, and dad hadn't dated anyone that I knew of until recently. I got upset, told her to leave, and didn't even give her mom's present. I was so angry and hurt. I haven't told my dad yet, but I've been really upset about it. I never meant to hurt my mom, and I feel really bad. I don't know if I should reach out to her or just leave things alone like Penny told me to. I'm pretty sure she's moved on from me. She's posted pictures of herself with her husband, his kids, and Penny. I don't think she has space in her life for me anymore, and it's all my fault. Update: I talked to my parents. It wasn't fun. I confronted my dad about what my sister told me, and he admitted it was true. It was hard to hear because my boyfriend cheated on me a few months ago, and my dad had been there for me through that. I also told him about what his girlfriend had been saying. He was upset and said he'd take care of it and talk to her. She seems to have been nicer since then, but I don't really trust her. My dad and I are okay though. I'm still upset about what he did, but I guess someone can be a good dad without being a good husband. It's complicated. Maybe his girlfriend deserves to be with him. That sounds mean, but it's how I feel. Unfortunately, things with my mom have been bad. We used to go to the ballet at Christmas, it was our thing together, but a few years ago, after the divorce, she said she didn't want to go that year, and after that, she just never asked me again. I've asked her a few times, but she's always said she couldn't do it. But last week, she made a post with her, Penny and Emma, her stepdaughter, the one she wanted me to give the doll to, and obviously, they were at the ballet. When I saw Penny the next day, I could tell she wanted me to ask about it, but I didn't. She asked if I wanted to go in on mom's birthday present, it's in a few weeks. I asked if I was even going to be invited to her party or dinner, and she said that shouldn't matter. So I told her I'm not getting mom anything for events I'm not invited to. I got her a Christmas present and she didn't invite me over. I got her a wedding present and I wasn't invited to that either. Penny told me they didn't invite me to the wedding because mom didn't want me reporting anything back to dad. She wanted to enjoy her wedding. She eloped in the Caribbean. That really upset me, so I called my mom later later and asked if it was true. She sounded annoyed and told me she'd meet with me to talk, but only if I promised to listen. So I drove all the way out to see her, and she started talking about boundaries, how if I wanted her in my life, I needed to respect them. Her boundaries were things like giving her 3 days notice before seeing her and not asking the day of or the day before. She also said I'd have to invite Emma to anything we did and put effort into being a big sister to her. I was so over it. I asked again if what Penny said about the wedding was true, and she told me she just wanted to enjoy her wedding after everything that had happened. I have never gossiped with one of my parents about the other. Even when I knew they wanted me to, I never did. And even if I had, my own mom still cared more about her ex finding out about her wedding than about having me there. I kind of lost it at that point. I know it was wrong, but I couldn't help it. I've just been keeping things inside for so long, trying to get her to love me again, and it's pointless. She doesn't want me around, and I don't want to be around anyone who doesn't want me there. So I told her that. I told her I had no idea Dad had an affair until Penny told me, but at this point, I didn't even blame him. I told her she could have fun with my replacement, but it would never be the same because she's not her mom. She already has a mom, and it's not my mom. She'll always pick her real mom over her. My friends' moms go out of their way to see their daughters, and I have to beg mine for scraps. I wish I told her exactly where to shove her boundaries, but I didn't have the energy left to do it. But I did tell her to forget she ever had me, and then I left. She called me a bunch of times, but I Googled it, and since I'm 19, I know I'm allowed to block her number. So now Penny and her husband have been calling and texting me, but I told them she needs to respect my boundaries. I think I'll be okay, but it's been hard. I have a therapist who helps me sometimes, and I think cutting my mom out will be good in the long run. I don't want to end up like her, and if Penny wants to cut me off because of it, that's fine. My friends and I decided to get an apartment together this summer, and I think it'll be good for everyone. My dad was sad when I told him, but I need to start my own life. I know it's kind of BS since he'll be paying part of my rent, but we promised that we'd get dinner at least twice a week. I know he did something bad, but I meant what I said about not blaming him. At least he's always been there for me, unlike her. User BLBD said, there are several real bastards in this situation. Poor OP. User Zelda's username said, why would you completely drop the ball like that over one of your children? My father at least admits it's his fault we're all so awkward with him. He said the other day that you don't stop learning how to behave just because you're in your 80s. This woman just didn't try, and Penny should have waited for her sister. Mine always did.